If any here leave today thanking God that they are not like the Pharisee, we have failed in breaking open the Word and our hearts. In the past few weeks, we've heard a lot from Jesus about prayer. Prayer feeds faith, and faith feeds prayer. Pray consistently for justice. Pray persistently for justice. In today's gospel, we hear about praying for justice and righteousness. This particular Pharisee, a man who was deeply religious and did what was expected of one in such a position, has prayed as he was supposed to. He has followed the law and has tithed and fasted as required by the law. He knows right from wrong and has chosen what is right according to the law. Therefore, his condemnation is given to those who have chosen what is wrong, to be unrighteous. He thanks God that he is not like those who he considers to be wrong. And in praying, he just wants to nudge God a little bit and say, oh, by the way, there's an unrighteous person right here. One doesn't have to be a Pharisee to have that outlook. It is quite common in Christianity. The problem with this way of thinking is that we can back God into a corner with it. And even though it may not have been our conscious intention, we begin to think unconsciously that we can make God serve us. The gift of God, God's law, can quickly become a possession. Now, the other character in this story was the tax collector. This is not your IRS agent, no matter how mad one might get at the IRS. Tax collectors were agents of the state. First century Palestine, agents in a circuitous way. And it sort of worked like this. Rome, the occupier, said, okay, this region, this is how much taxes we're going to collect from this region. So I, wanting to make a little money, would say, oh, I'll either make sure those taxes are collected or I'll pay you the taxes if I have the money that you're expecting. And then in turn, the people owe me. So you, I, whoever's doing that, would go out and hire tax collectors and make a little bit more for yourself. And let the tax collector make a little bit more for himself. That's how it works. I'll shake down the populace and you can shake down the populace and everything will be okay. And Rome didn't really care as long as they got their part. Now, these tax collectors were despised by all the people as collaborators with the Roman occupiers and the economic suppressors. The tax collectors were ritually unclean. They were on the wrong side religiously, politically, and economically. And here he was, a tax collector, praying to God, asking for mercy. So how does this happen that the tax collector is the one that God justifies, while the one that is following the law goes home unjustified, unrighteous? Because the Pharisee has made a mistake. God does not compare one person to another. Our relationship with God is one-on-one, and that's a great thing. No matter what I do, no matter what you do, God's grace is given to all the time. The Pharisee has nothing to ask of God in his prayer other than thanking God for a job well done and thinking that God can do no more for him in his life. The tax collector knows he is lacking and knows that there is room for God to work in his life. God knows our quality of justice. Justice is the relationship we have with each other. God knows our righteousness. Our righteousness is the relationship we have with God that allows God to emanate from us to others. Now let's hope that those who behave as the Pharisee did, in dividing the world between those who deserve it and those who do not deserve, between those perceived as righteous and those perceived as unrighteous, dividing the world between those perceived as lawbreakers and those perceived as law-abiders. Let's hope that those who believe in this dualistic thinking, a thinking that really has no need of God, let's hope that they do not get the God they believe in, for that will be a very lonely place. Dr. R. Allen Culpepper, a Lutheran scholar, says that the Pharisee, the self-righteous person, has enough religion to be virtuous, but not enough to be humble. The result of this is that his religion drives him away from seeing God in the other person, instead of toward seeing God in the other person. And the wonderfully, wonderfully good news in this parable is that when we find ourselves in the position of the self-righteous, and we will, the position of one who asks for mercy is just a prayer away. Prayer is not to demonstrate our relationship with God. Prayer is our relationship with God. Amen.